Evening, people. Welcome to BNR. I think we had a few technical issues here, but I think I'm live. Um, I think I am, yeah. But I think I owed you a show today. I came on. I was driving. I thought I'd give Avi and Jean a bit of company, but I absolutely bodged it. I absolutely destroyed the show. I was going through bridge under every bridge in Yorkshire, and I messed it up. And I thought, you know what? I'm home. I've done my gym for the last hour or so, and let's hop on and let's all have a good catch up because there has been a lot of developing news, a lot of headlines. Um, and I thought, you know what, I owe you guys a mid evening or a late afternoon show. So whether it's early evening, isn't it? It's early evening. So as Sheen is in the building, he's come to destroy my show now. Yeah, you ruined my show, but a big welcome. There's only already 95 of you in the building. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. We also have launched about 2-3 weeks ago now. You probably all know about it. The BNR Ultras. I can see Yusuf is already in the building. I'm well, Yusuf. I hope you and family are good as well. We've set up a WhatsApp group as well, just to engage with you guys a little more, create a community, because that's what it's all about. Just keep on growing that BNR community, the BNR family. Here's another one, Rehan Isak Hogia. I'm glad you're saying that, Rehan, and not me. But we'll talk Isak. We'll talk Isak because that's what everybody wants to talk about. I think it's probably a good point to start because there has been, I call it a development, but more journalist talk about Isak, because whenever any journalist goes live on their YouTube page or have a question and answer, 95% of those questions that are sent to him are around Alexander Isak. But I think every Liverpool fan will agree that this is a period of sales, and as Jean's thumbnail suggested early in the afternoon, that the sales have started, and they were kick-started by the sale of Jarell Kwanzaa to Bayer Leverkusen. We got a decent deal. Some expected more, some expected less, but the general consensus amongst the Liverpool fan base is Jarell Kwanzaa and Liverpool have got a good deal out of him, especially when you consider if he does go and develop into a really good European centre back, then we've all got the option. Well, Liverpool have got the option to activate that release clause, and I think it's around about 60 million euros, which is very, very fair as well. In 3-4 years time, if you're looking for a really good ball playing centre back who's become stronger over the last 2-3 years, then Jarell Kwanzaa might be on that list, and around 60 million pounds. If he develops, it's a very fair deal. But also, where as far as we understand, sorry, that's not anyone regarding Liverpool, so I'll just ignore that. When it comes to Federico Chiesa, we understand that I think I didn't even realize that he shares the same agent as Milos Kerkez. Whether he finds the time to discuss Federico Chiesa, his client, this week, I don't know. He is in Liverpool celebrating one of his other clients' big transfer, big move to Liverpool. So whether they get the time to thrash out a deal remains to be seen. You'd think so. If he's in Liverpool, he might stick around and discuss Federico Chiesa. We do know the news that Federico Chiesa does want to leave at Liverpool, and who would blame him? There is a feeling that we don't want him to leave, and his song is good and this and that. But let's be honest, we're all just joking around, aren't we? When we say those sort of things, at the end of the day, it just hasn't worked out, and the physicality of the Premier League has just been too much for him. And we all wanted to see that player that was an unbelievable revelation in the Euros, and he was one of the best players in Europe. That's how good he was. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I think he's lost his legs, unfortunately. Obviously, the injuries, the big injuries, have really, really affected him. But you have to give credit to the player that, whenever he was on the bench, he was a massive support network to even the players going on or around the squad, or even the injured players. Even in the warm up, honestly, he was a live wire. And the vibe and the camaraderie that he had with the squad, whether it's Van Dijk or anybody, even if it's like from the leadership crew, or just a young kid in the squad making his way up through Liverpool academy. Whenever they were around Federico Chiesa, it was it was good to see, because he really cared about this club. He wanted to do well, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting minutes, and there's a World Cup year as well, I saw some comments from the Italian manager that if he's really serious about getting some minutes in the World Cup, he needs minutes. I think it was Gattuso. I saw some comments from a couple of weeks ago. So I think we could get around about £10 million. I think that talk will progress over the next week to 10 days. And then at the moment, I think the priority for Liverpool is seeing Darwin Nunez find a new club. And as Fabrizio Romano reported today, that there were some direct talks, direct conversations with his representatives and the club. So if we can thrash out a deal, it looks like he wants to go to Napoli. He's given the green light to go to Italy. And now it's all about working out a deal with Liverpool. And ideally, Liverpool wanted him to go to Saudi Arabia. I think everyone wanted him to go to Saudi Arabia, because we simply get an extra 15-20 million pounds from a Saudi club. And when you saw those videos, I think there was one video with Luis Diaz during the season when they were joking around about Saudi cash. And you thought, you know what? Don't blame him. He's 26. They come from very humble beginnings. A lot of South American players do come from a different working class background. And who could blame him? 26, 27 years old. He's won the league with Liverpool, contributed to a small way. Or that Brentford goal for me was massive, but it wasn't good enough for him to stick around. And the manager just simply has fell out of trust and love. And when the manager wins the league, he can do what he wants. And we'll talk about what that means for Liverpool. How do they go about getting an extra forward? Will it mean that they go get a versatile forward? Will it mean that they go and spend a bit of pay a premium for a number 9? Because apart from Jota now, when Darwin Nunez leaves, because it's more almost a guarantee that he's left, we simply don't have a striker at the club bar Jota. And there's a massive, massive question mark when it comes to Jota's fitness, Jota's form, Jota's legs, Jota's intensity, and let's be honest, Jota's skill set in this team. Because the manager, if we're going, if we're going with what we saw last year in terms of he wants a facilitator coming into those little pockets and connecting play, Jota is all about picking the ball up and driving. And at the moment, he hasn't even got that drive. He's got the finish on him, but we didn't even really see the finish on him. With Diogo Jota standards, he missed a lot of chances last year. And let's be honest, we can't count on Diogo Jota because of his fitness issues as well. So I think, what does it mean? Do we go and get that number 9? Do we go, if we can't get Alexander Isak, does it mean that we go spend an extra 5, 10, 15 million pounds on someone like Hugo Ekitike? Do we go and look if we can get someone like Benjamin Sesko or even Victor Gyökeres? Because those two players, although they've been really, heavily linked with Arsenal and Man United and even Chelsea to an extent as well, but I expected those deals to be done by now. But if I'm really honest, I do expect those two players to go to those sort of clubs, especially when it comes to Sesko. It looks like Arsenal have made a decision and gone with the younger option. Okay, Alexander Isak. We saw some news earlier. Let me just share the screen with you. Just bear with me. So this was, I think, is a question answer with Lewis earlier. That, where is it? Um, there we are. What I was told last week, if Isak could move to Liverpool, he could easier said than done. He would, sorry, easier said than done, of course. So is Isak to Liverpool probable? No. But is it possible? Yes. Now, there's a couple of things. If you're going by that, if Isak could move to Liverpool, he would. So according to that, Isak has made his mind up that if there was a Liverpool move available this summer, he would choose us. Now, who wouldn't choose Liverpool? With all due respect to Newcastle, and I know they've got Champions League and they've got a load of money behind their owners, but can they seriously go into the market and convince Alexander Isak that they can go and push for that Premier League title? Have they really hit their peak? Can they really get better than top four? Doesn't regardless of how much they spend. I'd be very surprised if Newcastle finish second or third next year. And also with the PSR issues, yes, they've got Champions League, but you really have an opportunity to go big on in the transfer market and make a statement is when you get back to back. They've got Champions League, but they'll probably receive that money next year during the season, so they can spend it in January and especially in the summer. So, do they need back-to-back years in the Champions League? I think so. Can they still spend around 70 to 100 million pound net? Probably. Will that be enough to convince Alexander Isak if his future lies at Newcastle? I don't think so. He's got a trophy with Newcastle, but in terms of Newcastle's perspective, they have a guy here who's arguably the best striker in the world, and a lot of people will say, Haaland is. I think Haaland's a better goal scorer. Alexander Isak is a better footballer / player, because he can do a lot more, off and on and off the ball compared to Haaland. So he's the hottest property in the world which is available. So we've already got the number 10. Can we really go and press the button on the number 9? Well, the intention is there. That is very, very good news. Liverpool have an intention to go for Alexander Isak. And if I'm really being honest, in my opinion, someone's saying breaking news. Are you having me on? New tweet, mate. I think is it this one? Liverpool could spend another 200 million in the market this summer and still be a PSR compliant, but the game isn't to see how much they can spend. Dave Powell. There you go. I mentioned it a couple of shows ago. I don't think Liverpool do need these sales. Yes, in the natural process will take place now where I think we pinpointed these 3 signings. Frimpong, because Trent was obviously leaving. Kirkes, because Robertson was really struggling throughout the season, and we highlighted that area as a massive area of improvement. And then the number 9. I think if we had a number 9 performing last year, I think you all could agree that we don't trial Luis Diaz in the number 9 position, because Jota couldn't get control for Liverpool from those areas. Darwin Nunez wasn't technically good enough to play in those pockets and get on the ball and be part of the attack, because this manager is not all about going up and down. And Darwin Nunez was more of a Jurgen Klopp player, and he actually tried to get the game to go through him a lot more. But this manager has pointed out and highlighted Mohamed Salah as his focal point of attack, and he has been proven right. And what he's gonna do now is gonna make sure that number 9 is 1, a facilitator, 2, is also can run the channels a bit, but also more importantly, grab a goal when it really matters. And Diogo Jota was probably closest to that, and because of his injuries, it wasn't meant to be, and that's why we want that player. So I was just about to say, before you guys started talking about this breaking tweet, my own personal opinion is once Liverpool do the sales, let David Nunez go to Napoli, Chiesa to Italy, Harvey Elliott probably will leave to someone like Brighton. Then we might do some other sales as well, like a Tyler Morton, maybe Doak, although Doak might happen really late in the window. And there's also, who else was there? Bajetic, we may get about. I thought we could get maybe 20 to 25 million. Avi, I think it was, he thought it's 10, 15 million max. So it'll be interesting. But if there is an intention to sell Bajetic this summer, we'll get some money for him. And so there is a scope for getting and recouping around 100 to 150 million pounds. Although, like you guys have just said, there isn't a massive need for Liverpool because we have so many sellable assets the manager didn't fancy. We're naturally going to get that money. And I think we've left this period after 3 guys coming in to get that deal done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take stock of the transfer market again. And it may mean, I think Liverpool will make a bid for Alexander Isak. Now, that might not just come to light in the public domain. We might not even know about it. And this is just my personal opinion. I think Liverpool will contact, knock on the door, inquire, pick up the phone to Newcastle regarding Alexander Isak. And then it will all depend on how reasonable and how negotiable Newcastle are. If Newcastle just blows out of the water and say, look, we want 200 million, Liverpool will say, okay, that's fine. We ain't coming back. Let us know when you're reasonable. And maybe that it will be in January, which I don't really think it will be, but most likely next summer. So that is just a personal opinion. I think Liverpool do like him. If we're being told he's the dream signing, but does that mean we make the bid and we get him? Not necessarily. And this is the reason why I'm not totally confident on getting Isak, because as Louis Steele says, is Isak to Liverpool probable? No, because if Newcastle just simply don't want to negotiate with us, we don't really have anything to go by, because they have got him on a 3-year deal, and they really will feel the pressure when it comes down to 2 years. That's when they will need to do something. In the meantime, they'll offer him a new contract, get him on better terms, and that's up to him how he works that contract out with Newcastle. He may say, okay, fine, in the meantime, I get a better deal, but you also need to give me the guarantee that if you get a bid of, let's say, between 100 to 125 million pounds in the next 12 months, you need to accept that. Whether it's a buyout clause at 125 million pounds, I think, it might be well the case. At least it's all the parties are getting a good deal. Then Newcastle get a guarantee for Alexander Isak to be in the team, get them Champions League again. So what I was talking about, spending that money again, really making a statement with the Champions League by going back to back. Isak gets better terms, and then Liverpool get him around 100 to 125 million. Now that might be bad news for Liverpool fans. We don't want to wait now. It's now or never. And I get that. And I get that feeling. Whether we come back in 12 months' time, there's no guarantee as well. He'll be 26 next summer, 27 soon. Some people were telling me he's 27 in June. Some people were telling me I can't, my battery's really low. So someone tell me when he turns 27. Is it going to be next, the following January, or next summer in June? So that could play a massive part. How his injury record in the next 12 months plays out could also play a part, because what's one thing for guaranteed? Alexander Isak will score goals. So he'll still, record really good numbers and come out really high when the nerds check his numbers out next month. So Laurent Bastiens is saying Barcelona will be after Isak next summer. He called hold out for that move. Yep. Fair play. They have to replace Lewandowski very, very soon, don't they? And he'd fit their team to an absolute T. So, but that is my my personal opinion. This is the reason why, for the guys who follow me on Twitter, I haven't put out a Alexander Isak feelings tweet. When I get some information, or if I get some information that Newcastle have let their guard down to a certain extent, that is when I will get real encouragement, and maybe that's when you get the Isak feelings tweet. Because when I got when I was digging up for Florian Wirtz, the feeling was, one, the player wants to come. Two, the manager Arnie Slot has really made a big, massive impression on him, and three, which is pivotal, was Leverkusen let us talk to him, and him to travel to Cheshire and talk to the manager and see all the facilities once again, and practically convince him. So all the three parties were on board for him to come to us. And then obviously they didn't want him to go to Bayern Munich as well, for obvious reasons. Man City moved away because they've got, although they tried to save face publicly, in essence, he chose Liverpool over Manchester City. And this is the reason why they went towards a cheaper option and spent that money over, 2-3 players. So that is the crux of it. If we get that feeling that Newcastle want to come to the table, I think we could get Alexander Isak this summer. But let me know what you think. Do you think we get him this summer? Do you think we pay that premium of 15, 20, 30 million pounds extra? Can we really go and spend 150, 160 million pounds? Because let's be honest, if we're going to really get him out that club this summer, it might take around 150 million pounds. But let me know what you think. Adnan, thank you so much for becoming a BNR Ultra. I think the chat is pinned with the link. I think it is. So head over, please support us with all the new stuff coming your way. I can't give you too much, but please bear with us for the next 2-3 weeks. And you'll know exactly what we mean. But please head over. You'll be getting exclusive content for all the members, and also you come into the BNR Ultra WhatsApp group. It's in the group. Unks, my one and only Unks, the big massive Liverpool fan. Big up, and a big shout out to Unks from Luton. I think he's talking about Isak. He says also it's his wages. Unks, I don't think it's his wages. If you check, and last time I checked, I think he's on around 150 to 160 grand. Now, if he comes to Liverpool, I think we get him for about 250 grand. Honestly, I think this guy is level-headed. It's not all about the money for him. I think this guy wants that big step now. He's proved he is capable of making that big step. More is saying 140, is between 140 and 160. So I think now is most telling me 120. So whatever it is, he's not on 200 grand a week, is he? When we were talking about Nico Williams, yeah, the fee is small, but his wages were really high. I think he's on around 200 grand a week. But I think Isak's wages are not a concern, Unks. The only thing that will stop Alexander Isak becoming a Liverpool player this summer is how much resistance Newcastle provide this summer when it comes to negotiating the sale for their star striker. If they are willing to accept around anything between 125 and pushing it to 150, I think Liverpool could do a deal. Anything more than that, I think Liverpool will simply just walk away. Aki's in the house. Having low wages help the package become more affordable. 100%, Aki. 100%. Someone else was asking, check Twitter. If you see anything on Twitter breaking, guys, just put it up and I'll put it on the screen. Let's go. I think we've covered Isak more or less, haven't we? So let's go over and see what else has been breaking. Ekitike is the one they like, but nothing is advanced for the Frankfurt forward. at the moment. The likes of Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres are on the move, but I don't think either fit the bill for Liverpool right now. Um, Ekitike, um, yeah, come on, stop trolling, man. Come on, please. Ekitike, we've discussed him in length. If I'm really honest, I'm not his biggest fan. Yes, he's raw. Yes, he's got talent. But I just want something of the finished article. And this is why every Liverpool fan is desperate. Why? Because we've got 2 years, realistically speaking, for Van Dijk and Salah. And I know we've bought the big star signing in Florian Wirtz. It'll increase our chances and increase our chances on the pitch for creating chances and chances in winning trophies as well. But I want a proper bagsman, and that is the problem. Is the number 9, as you guys know, the number 9 market isn't great. Julian Alvarez is really liked by Liverpool, but that is seen as a really difficult deal as well. And Alexander Isak, as we've just discussed, Ekitike is valued and liked by Liverpool at around 60 to 70 million max. Now, Liverpool, for his numbers, they do not think or they do not value Ekitike at around 75, 80, 90, 100 million pounds. Now, Frankfurt, if you go check, we've been talking about it, they get their money for their players. And surprisingly, and you have to give them credit for that, for not, with all due respect, for not a big club, they always seem to get their money. I think Kuala Mani got around about 90. They got 95 million euros. Now he's a talent, but 95 million euros for him, seemed a massive deal. So this is a good point as well. PSG have a 20% sell on for Ekitike. So this is the reason why Frankfurt are not looking at around 65, 70 million pounds. They need to compensate for the fact that they've got a release clause that they need to give 20 to 25% back in to PSG. So I think Liverpool will walk away from that deal if they demand those sort of numbers. Now, is he on hold? Have we told Hugo Ekitike saying, sit tight, let us get Wirtz? That was priority number 1. Frimpong was the earlier priority. Kirkes is done. Now, those 3 deals, I think we did a lot of groundwork for during the season from March. And there's no surprise why those 3 have come in through the door straight away. Hugo Ekitike is probably liked. We've done some initial meetings with the representatives. Now, is he waiting for us? Are we waiting for Isak? Are we waiting for Newcastle? So there's a lot of, games of chess going on. Is the market going to see now, is it really going to kick in? And a snowball effect, a domino effect will take place in the market. It normally is the case where one big deal takes place and then they all kick off. And these initial deals, the deals like Manchester City were looking for Nouri and Rayan Cherki and Tijani Reinders, they obviously wanted them to play in the Club World Cup. So if they had to get the deal done and pay an extra 5-10 million pounds for, then they did. And to their credit, they still got decent deals for all those. But the rush was on for all the Club World Cup teams to get those players registered and get them on the pitch in America. Liverpool didn't have that. They've got 3 players now. They will sell, 3-4 players now. And then do they go with a clear head and a clear desk for Hugo Ekitike? And if they can negotiate a price of around 60 to 65 million pounds, I think they will look at it. If they can't, then I fancy Liverpool not to go left field as such, but I think Liverpool will start looking at that versatile forward, because I feel if Nunez is going to leave the club, which I think he will, we all agree with that. If Federico Chiesa is going to leave the club, which I think he will, and we all agree with that, then I think Liverpool might be short. If we are looking at Florian Wirtz doing or starting on paper on the false 9 position, then I think we are short. So we've got Salah, we'll have Gakpo, we'll have Wirtz, Jota, and then Nunez and Chiesa are left. So I think Liverpool will most definitely bring one at least forward into the club. Now, don't ask me who that is, but I think if you've got a versatile forward, I think Liverpool have liked Mohamed Kudus for a while. Now, the nerds will say he doesn't come up well in terms of the output numbers. He should be scoring loads. He should be assisting loads. But I think Liverpool like his dribbling and carrying numbers. He is in those metrics. He's one of the best in the top 5 European leagues. And also, when it comes to his versatility, if you can't get an out and out striker, I think we might look at someone like a Mohamed Kudus. Why? Because he can play the false nine position. He can play on the left of the front three. He can play at the left of the three in the midfield. He can play on the right and start as a number 10 in the Liverpool team. When Mohamed Salah goes for his African commitments with Egypt, he can do some shifts out wide, and even during the game he can be fluid in all of those positions that I've mentioned. And I think Liverpool will be interested. Now, West Ham might demand a 75-80 million pound fee, but I think Liverpool have got time. I think Mohamed Kudus would jump at the chance to go and move from West Ham to Liverpool. And now this is just an opinion. There are other versatile forwards Liverpool have liked, have monitored for a long, long time. Fadi says Kudus is in the African nations. I was told that his team didn't qualify. Can someone just confirm? Did Ghana qualify for the AFCON? Because we've been talking about it, and I'm sure Ghana didn't qualify. If someone can confirm that, that would be good. But he is a player. Heitinger obviously has left the club. He was a massive, massive fan. The Heart of Football is saying they didn't. Aditya Singh is telling me Ghana is not in the AFCON. So yeah, that is a big plus for this year. Yildiz, I'm not going to lie, tailor-made. Maybe Yildiz is tailor-made for Liverpool. You never know. But I couldn't tell you anything on Yildiz because I've not seen him enough. A lot of people are telling me, watch this kid from Juve. He's performed. I think he scored that day, didn't he? A couple of days ago when they played. So yeah, Fadi, I agree. I think Mohamed Kudus, whenever I watched Mohamed Kudus live, honestly, he's a bata. And for the guys who understand Punjabi, what I mean by that is an absolute stone where he can just pick up the ball on the halfway line in wide areas. And if he's alone, he'll put his studs on the ball and he'll wait for his teammates to catch up with play. And then he'll connect with them. If there's no one about, he'll turn and run with the ball. His carrying and dribbling skills were unbelievable. And I think he will be a really, really good fit. Unks is saying, yeah, you mean a rock. That's what he is. He's a rock. Am I concerned by his pure output and even underlying? I'd like to see his underlying numbers because some people are very good creators and very good shot chance creators as well. But because they've got a bad striker at the club, it has an effect on their underlying numbers as well. So I will promise I will check out Mohamed Kudus's underlying numbers. Are they good? Are they not good? Because if his underlying numbers in terms of shot creating actions and stuff like that, that could have an effect because the nerds of the club, all the data-driven guys, they do look at the underlying numbers. Atik's in the house. He says, I take Kudus any day of the week. And a lot of people are in this same boat because I think he needs a club like Liverpool now. He needs a better team. And a few in the chat are saying Jared Bowen is a better option. I think Jurgen Klopp absolutely loved Bowen. But the problem with Bowen, I think he's missed that ship of sail now because of his age. And the problem a lot of left-footed right wingers had over the last 3-4 years, and when they got linked with Liverpool, if you were Jarrod Bowen or anybody else, you thought, yes, Liverpool are a brilliant club. Yes, it will be an unbelievable transfer. But realistically speaking, if you're someone like Jarrod Bowen 2-3 years ago, you're thinking, how the hell do I get a game at Liverpool? Alhamdulillah, Muhammad Salah does not get injured, and long may it continue. So if you're someone like um, Jarrod Bowen, you're thinking, why am I going to go to Liverpool in a big, massive move and sit on the bench? So that is the problem. The same problem that many strikers had when they were going to Tottenham and going and being playing second fiddle to someone like Harry Kane. Like realistically, are you going to take him out of the team? No. So they had a problem, a big problem. But now I think if you want to play a backup role to Bowen, to Salah, maybe. But I think Liverpool are looking at that player, and this is the beauty about Mohamed Kudus, is he can play various positions. So if he's not covering Salah, he can cover Wirtz and Soboslai in the number 9 position and act as the false nine. False nine. He can act as the number 10 position. He can do a job on the left of the attack. Although I don't like him there, I prefer him in the 10 or out wide, because I think when he's coming off those the touch line and he's carrying the ball from the right side of midfield, I think he looks best. So he plays in 3-4 different positions, and I think that's what he gets or has over someone like Bowen. So let's see. Maybe it's something to keep an eye out on. The other versatile forwards that you're looking at, maybe Anthony Gordon is another one, but I just don't fancy Liverpool spending 70 80 million pounds on him as well. Did he have a season about 2 years ago that he peaked? Was it a one-off season? He does score a lot of goals against the top 6, but I've had some concerns when it comes to Anthony Gordon's ability to play against a bus, an organized defense, and try to find the space in wide areas or little pockets of space against a really organized team. Has he got that ability to stand up a man and take him on in tight spaces? Whenever I've seen him play well, it's all on the counter attack. It's all on the counter attack, and that might be one of the reasons why he's played really well against the top 6. To his credit, he's got really a lot of goals against the top 6. And that season he had, I think he got double figures in assists and goals as well. But he did have a drop off last season, and that's concerning. And ultimately, he lost his place to Harvey Barnes in the team at the end of the season. But he is versatile. I think at Anfield last season, I saw him play off the striker when they turned up at Anfield. They turned up in a 4-4-2. But Eddie Howe did say that he deliberately played it because he didn't want to give anything away to Liverpool, because we were playing him in the cup final a week later. So maybe he just did it. But he does have versatility. He can play on the right hand side, he can play on the left, and he can play up top. But I don't think Anthony Gordon can do a job like a Dembele, for example, what we saw in the Champions League. Mohamed Kudus does have a lot better holding up ability compared to Anthony Gordon. I think Anthony Gordon is more of a guy who can play off the main man up top rather than being a focal point in the attack, because I don't think he's got the natural frame to hold the ball up when he really has to. But Mohamed Kudus, I think he really does have that ability. When he turned up, the first time I saw him live was that Champions League tie against Liverpool, when he turned up in an Ajax shirt, and he played up top that day, and I thought he was unbelievable, and he scored a really good goal on that night. And maybe that was the night when Liverpool started monitoring him. Okay, people, I came on just for a quick catch up because we are back tonight. I'm going to stay for another 5 minutes. So if you've got any questions, please fire them across and I'll try my best to answer them. So head over to the BNR Ultras membership. If you can't find the link, just please DM me on Twitter and I'll send you the link. Please show us your love and support with that. But smash a like. If you can't become a member, subscribe to the channel. That's all we want, because it goes a long way in providing you guys the content you're after on a daily basis. The Heart of Football is asking me, Asim, when is the Kirkez announcement? I was asking a few people at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I had a slight hope that it might be at 7 o'clock, hence why we went live at 6:55. But it's 7:45 now, so can I see an 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Like I explained to you guys, we nobody gets a 45 minute, an hour briefing. Sometimes, most of the time, you only get about 5 minutes notice from the press officer. So if that comes at 5 to 8, then we might come on. If not, we'll come back later on. If he's announced but 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we'll be talking Milos Kerkez, because that is an unbelievable signing. And the thing is about Wirtz and Kerkez, in a funny way we didn't really get to celebrate those signings, because the whole story and the saga went across over like 4 weeks. Now the main thing is we got the player, but the fact that we sometimes have forgotten how big the player is for us, or how big the transfer is going to be for us. And Milos Kerkez is going to be an unbelievable signing. And let's be honest, we're shopping at the top table. That has been the theme this summer, where we have reached a level. We won the title, and we have reached a level, at least in the UK, where everybody wants to come to Liverpool. Ryan Cherki having conversations with Liverpool. Florian Wirtz rejecting Bayern Munich and rejecting Manchester City and Pep Guardiola to come to Liverpool. Milos Kerkez rejecting and ignoring phone calls from Real Madrid and Manchester City once again to come to Liverpool. So we are the biggest attraction when it comes to the Premier League, and it's going to hold us in good stead this year, because I make us big favourites for getting the back-to-back titles this this next season. Luke, big up Asim. How are you? I'm feeling good. Don't ask me if I'm feeling Alexander Isak, because we've discussed that at length. But generally speaking, Luke, I can't complain. I'm just gonna quickly skim through the chat. When is Isak announcement? Have you heard anything about Kudus? Sami is just a complete hunch and an opinion. But what I do know is we did like him. We have always liked him. Whether that means that we and go take up our interest, I simply couldn't tell you, mate. Okay, Asim, we are not looking at any of those players you mentioned. We are fully focused on Isak, Ekitike, Fofana, Hato, Wharton, and centre backs, and try to sell as many as we can. Yeah, I obviously we do know Ekitike is liked, and we can get him at 65 million, 70 million pound max. I think we will do the deal. Anything more than that, I think we might just give him another year. Can you go and score another 25 goals in the German league, get another, 30, 40, 50 games under your belt, and show us that you can keep on going and keep on scaling up, then we might be willing to pay an extra 10, 15 million pounds in 12 months' time. But is that the situation right now? I don't think so. Look, it could be the fact that, Ekitike, we've just given a little instruction saying sit tight for the next month or two, and let us do some deals, let us do some sales, and then we'll make sure we'll negotiate with your club, because we've done the negotiation with Leverkusen, we've done the negotiation with Kirkez. A lot of people were saying Bournemouth won't accept a penny less than 50 million pounds, but we managed to get him 40 million pounds and no add-ons. So, and no add-ons in today's day and age is fairly rare, isn't it? So we managed to do that. Why can't we do a deal with Frankfurt? So it could be the case where Liverpool have just told him sit tight for a month, and we'll knock on the door and we'll let you know when we're coming. TaylorMade is saying Gehi is definitely on the list. I agree. I tweeted yesterday that Gehi has told Crystal Palace that he would like to leave. Now it's all about which team comes to the table and strikes the deal. Parish and Palace want the best deal for Palace, and whether they can get 50 million pounds for him, that is their intention. But they might have to shake hands, and I think they know they've got plenty of time. So I think Gehi might be a deal that we do, but it might be later on in the window where the time is ticking for Palace, and they think, okay, we've called Liverpool's bluff, but we at the end of the day we want the money as well, because with all due respect, Crystal Palace, could they really go next year and just lose him on a free? I don't think they've got the money for that, and I don't think they're in the position to do that. And I think they're a well-run club, but I think they also respect their captain and his wishes as well to get a bigger club. But there's a few reports about how Gehi might prioritize minutes as well. So maybe that might be the decisive factor when it comes to him choosing the club. But if you want my opinion, if Liverpool are on that table with Mark Gehi, I think he chooses us, whether it's Newcastle on the table or even Chelsea. Okay, people, we're going to leave it there. There's still 420 of you in the building. Please smash a like on the way out and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. We'll let you know. We're either back at 10 or 10:30 with, I think it's Avi. Jake might be on, and Jean is also on. But until then, we'll catch you later. Take care and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.